Dabi does not trust Hawkx, and he specifically doesn't trust Hawkx with you. After the League of Villains joined forces with the Liberation Army, Hawkx has been in charge of helping to educate people in their cause, such as twice. To avoid seeming suspicious, you acted as you normally would around Hawkx. You were naughty and a little flirty. Hawkx understood that it was an act, but he couldn't help but get excited whenever you get too close to him. This side of you was completely new to him, but he didn't dislike it. Every time you flirted with him, he would just flirt back, calling you cutie and sweetheart. Honestly, your heart would skip a beat every time he did that, but you had to keep yourself in check. Because the other members of the league were all sharp, you had to use those moments of flirting to exchange information with Hawkx. You'd slide notes into his pocket or into his sleeves. However, because Dabi doesn't trust Hawkx, he forbade you from seeing Hawkx without the other members of the league present. All of your information exchange was done in the presence of other villains. It was high risk, but it had to be done. You avoided Hawkx outside of group meetings. Hawkx, however, was trying to find a chance to be with you alone. He had so many questions that needed answers. How have you been the past few years? Did you eat well? Did you sleep well? When will your mission be over? Finally, Dabi left the hideout for the next few days. He didn't say where he was going, but he'd be gone for a while. Hawkx knew he had to take this chance to find you, so he did. He found you alone in a room at night, sitting on the windowsill, smoking a cigarette as you gazed out at the stars. Nugget? Your eyes widened when you heard his voice. You turned your head to see him looking at you with a pained expression. Your brows furrowed softly as you looked down. I haven't heard that one in a while, you said with a pained smile. This was you, the real you, without the flirty facade and the villainous smirk. This was the person Hawkx has been longing to see for the past 6 years. When did you start smoking? He asked as he walked over. You threw away the cigarette and muttered, It's been a while. I picked it up from Dabi. He stood next to you, fist clenched. An uncomfortable silence drew out between the two of you. After what seemed like an eternity, you finally asked, What do you want? It's dangerous for us to be alone like this. You should go. How long have you two been together? He asked. He wanted to ask how you've been, but for some reason, this is the question that comes out of his mouth. You let out a deep breath. It's been 2 years. Does he treat you well? Hawk's hand trembled as he mustered out the courage to ask. He hasn't seen you in years, hasn't heard from you in years. Every night he'd dream about you. He'd dream about the day you left. He'd dream about the possibility of you becoming a hero, about what would have happened if you stayed. Sometimes in his dreams, you'd be in his arms, waking up in bed with him, planting soft kisses on his lips. When he wakes up, he'd always be in tears because he doesn't know where you are. The commission refused to give any information regarding you. He's always wondering what you're doing out there, if you're eating okay, if you're injured. He had nightmares of finding you raped and killed, and he'd wake up screaming and crying. He'd demand for your information, but each time, he was denied. Before he came to the League of Villains, the Commission finally told him that you were there as well. His first reaction when hearing you were with the League was anger. How could they send you somewhere so dangerous? But his second reaction was excitement. He was finally going to see you again. However, he didn't expect to find you like this. He swore to himself that if Dabi mistreated you, he'd grab you and make a run for it. He secretly hoped that Dabi was abusive, that it'd give him a reason to just grab you and go. However, he was also scared. You'd be surprised by how good he is to me, you replied softly. Hawkx felt his heart stop. This was what he was afraid of. You know what's ironic? I was raised by the Hero Commission, but no one has given me as much love and affection as that villain. He cares about me. A lot. He makes me feel human. You grabbed the fistful of your hair in frustration. What about me? Hawkx asked with his fist clenched. This isn't what he wanted to hear. This isn't what he was mentally prepared to hear. He walked up to you, placing his hand on either side of you, caging you between him and the window. Huh? What about me? Do you not feel human around me? Do you not feel my love for you? Hawkx demanded. Your eyes widened. Of course you knew. How could you not know? You were all he had, and he was all you had. The little teenage crushes you had on each other back then, neither of you realizing until you were gone. Memories of him always haunted you in the middle of night. You loved this boy. No, it's man now, more than everything. And you thought that changed when you met Dabi. But as you gazed into his desperate eyes, as your heart pounded in your chest, you had no idea how you felt anymore. The years of yearning drew him closer to you, and closer. You should push him away. You're dating Dabi now. But instead, you allowed him to kiss you. Your arms instinctively wrapped around his neck as his went around your waist. You parted your lips, granting him entrance. At that moment, everything left your head. You forgot about the commission. You forgot that you were a spy. At that moment, it was just you and the little boy who shared the same dream. You missed his voice, his smell, his touch. You never realized how much you yearned for him until this moment. His lips on yours, his hands roaming all over your body. Right when his hand reached the edge of your pants, the face of a certain raven-haired man flashed in your head. You immediately pushed Hawkx away. Stop! Sorry. I didn't mean to. It's not your fault. It's mine. I shouldn't be doing this. You stepped away from him as you covered your face with your hands. Oh God, what am I doing? You squatted down on the ground, burying your face into your knees. How can you do this to Dabi? He may be a villain, but he's still your lover. You thought you loved him wholeheartedly, so how can you just kiss someone else like this? Hawk started walking towards you. Nugget, you okay? He reached out for you. No, I'm not. You swatted his hand away. His eyes widened when he saw the tears streaming down your face. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm horrible. Hawkx immediately knelt down next to you, his hand outstretched but afraid to touch you. No, you're not, he said with guilt in his eyes. I'm horrible. I was selfish. You did nothing wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You broke down crying. You threw yourself in Hawk's arms and buried your face in his chest. You hated yourself for this. You can't help but admit that you truly missed him all these years, and you wanted nothing more to be in his arms and forget about everything that happened over the past 6 years. You did things, horrible things. You wanted to forget all of them. I'm tired, Keigo. I'm so tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Hawkx wrapped his arms and wings around you. He was in pain too. It hurt him to see you like this. He knew the moment that the commission sent you on this mission that things would turn out this way. You weren't suited for this. You may have the talent to keep secrets, to keep up a certain act, but deep down, you were too kind. He hated how they sent you out here for 6 years to experience, to be a part of the most disgusting side of society. He hated that the only person who could give you comfort during your worst times was some criminal. If only they picked him. If only he went in your place instead 6 years ago, then maybe you wouldn't be in so much pain. That night, Hawkx grabbed you and flew away from the hideout. He took you to the top of a big tower where no one without wings could reach. There, he held you. He held you tightly in his arms and allowed you to let everything out.